L'union fait la force.
Welcome everyone. You are watching Afrique Creole with your Lady Nay. This is the show that uncovers the best of Afro-Caribbean culture. Help me welcome the Blaque Roots.
And I'm so happy to reconvene and reunion with you on this platform. I think it's only fitting and only right as we continue to reap the benefits of being from the village and then pass it on in legacy terms for the next generation. So blessings to you, and I'm so proud of what you've been able to do with your platform, sis.
I'm proud of you too, and I'm happy to have you on this show.
I'm Nakeeba Roots, also known as Nakeeba Roots, and I'm one half of the group Blaque Roots, and this, my friends, is
Mic Blaque. How you doing? How you doing? Yeah, I'm a hip hop artist, reggae artist, so much under the belt. You know what I'm saying? Afrobeat artist, funk, soul. That's what we do. Yeah, writer, revolutionary. You know what I mean? Dreamer, visionary.
It's so cool that you guys are representing the culture even in your name.
Ironically, it's the combination of both our names. So his name is Mic Blaque. I'm Nakeeba Roots, Nakeeba Mani, and so the combination is Blaque Roots. But then also just the recognition of knowing the importance of going back to your roots, going back to your blackness, understanding that that's the foundation and the hope and the building of everything is powerful. So I think, you know, in the name and choosing a name, you're kind of charting and choosing your destiny.
That's right.
We've been creating for, I would say, about 8 years now, 8 years. Mike's been featured on my projects. I've been featured on his projects. We've done just songs sporadically in the studio when the beat comes on and we both feel it, vibing and energy. So we have a lot of mutual respect for each other as artists, as well as we've always been supportive in partnership with one another. And we've been kind of playing with the idea of the Blaque Roots entity as a group within, I would say, the past 4 or 5 years. We like talking about, yeah, let's do it, let's get it, let's go. And then now it just it was timely. It was the right time. It was the right space. It was the right essence for us to make it happen. So, you know, we're excited about that.
How long have you been independent artists?
For a very long time. It's hard to count, man. I'm also an audio engineer, so it's like I've been doing music. Right, this is my life. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's difference. I always tell people it's a difference when you're eating off of music and also being a part of the music. You know, so it's like this is your whole. It's like the full circle going around. So you see things a lot differently. Your approach is different, and you're always strategic in how you just make your music. You know.
Because of my parentage and my mother, I've always been involved with music, but I was first a part of a group when I was 16, 17 years old. And so I've been doing music professionally as a personal and within a corporative entity since that time. So it's been a part of the fabric of my life. And I'm grateful to be able to have done it in different spaces, in different contexts with certain partners, and to be in creative environments all the time that inspire me.
Tell us who your mom is and how she influenced your career.
Sure. I mean, my mom is Sister Carol. She's an iconic and legendary figure in reggae music. She's paved the way for a lot of artists that we know, like Latifah, Lauren, like all of them have a really strong affinity for my mom's contribution to the lexicon of that which is Black music. As a mother, she's been, you know, a pivotal spiritual, emotional figure in my life, and to see her chart her path to face trials, to overcome and embrace triumphs has been very telling for me in my artistry. She's also an actress. She's been in numerous movies, Married to the Mob, Something Wild, like some of them are like cult classics. And for her to bring an Afro-Caribbean flair to those avenues has been amazing for me to witness as a child, but then also as a Black woman in a world where there's very limited representation.
We just gotta take a moment to clap it up for your mom. I'm sorry. Hearing you say all those things, every cell in my body is going off like a pinball machine. So exciting to even just hear that. The whole point of Afrique Creole is to encourage young kids to like dig into their own history, not only nationally, but within your own family. It's amazing that you know so much about your mom and you realize the icon that she is.
Parenting and legacy is important. And then she's always been encouraging of the ventures. Like when I told her that me and Mic Blaque were going on this venture, she's like, look, that's dope, you know, like just really, really pivotal in terms of the confidence in stepping into my birthright. I give thanks for the contribution that she's given to me personally, as well as to the world. So
respect to you, Sister Carol. Much love and much respect to you.
For this project, we definitely want to show balance, just the duality, just Black women, the Black man, cultural level, and just on grassroots level. We just doing where our hearts was where we at, which is with Black music. This project is representing so much culture and just the diaspora of Black folk.
We just released our first single, Fall in Line, and it's interesting because it has an eclectic mix of reggae, hip hop, R&B is in there too, and it speaks to where we are at this particular moment in time with what's happening in the world, what's happening in the Black community in particular, with regards to how we're positioned with the government, how we're positioned with disproportional results in our community, and how the things that give the world, you know, a cold, give us a flu, because of how marginalized we've been in the progression. And it encourages us to step into our power. We have everything that we need to overcome in this moment.
Fall in Line definitely represents that conversation where, listen, we ain't begging. We're not begging for anything. We got to build for ourselves.
Right.
And the only way we're going to do that is we get in line and work with each other.
Unify.
You know?
Unify and co-create in a way that makes sense for us as a people, because oftentimes we try to fit into systems that haven't worked for us, and they continue to not work for us. So it's like, if we want to personify the definition of insanity by keep trying to do something that's just not a fit, right? Or we want to create something new, something that allows for us to provide for ourselves as well as legacy for generations to come.
How do you stay connected to your roots?
So, you know, growing up, it was always there. It was just something that needed to spark that, you know, and like I said, this got sparked. Just learn about history in America, learn about, you know, revolutionary struggles in America, throughout the world, you know, and automatically I'm in it.
African spirituality allows for us to reach back to paradigms that work for us, that have meant things to us. If you look at your history, you know that the first free people in the Western Hemisphere was the Haitian Revolution, and they was lit, and they set a template for us to follow. And then I'm also a descendant of Maroons, people that have resistance embedded in their bones. And so it's a part of our birthright. It's part of who we are.
That's right.
To reach back, I think our parentage, I think being fostered and cultivated in a village and being a contributor to that village helps you feel supported in stepping out of what is the status quo, and not kind of subscribing to what everyone else expects or sees. And then you step into that in more confidence, I think, when it's more supported. And so there's a definitive spiritual component to what we do that pulls from our heritage in ways that just contributes and allows it to be expansive.
Yeah, because no matter how, like, you know, we create these new dances, we create so much.
We're creative.
And we create constantly. That's a form of rebellion. You know, that's us rebelling against, because they take it, commercialize it, but it just ain't right, you know, because that's our rebellion.
Not the same sauce.
Exactly.
It ain't the same sauce.
That's our rebellion, you know, and that's what it is in us. It's in us.
Yeah.
When I learned about Bookman Duty, one of our generals that led the ceremonial union before we went to fight for our independence, was a Jamaican brother. I was like, okay, we linked.
Connected.
We connected. Let's talk about a lot of things that are going on right now. There's like a huge cry for equality and for respect for the Black race. And what's surprising me is that it's not just a cry from us. Other people outside of our race are also crying for that justice, for that fairness, and for that respect. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that we have to go outside of the paradigm of this cry for equality. We are human. I can't ask you for my humanity. Like that doesn't even make sense. Like, I'm human. And in some cultures, I'm God and goddess. So it's important to understand that there's not an ask for anything, but it's definitive in the world that, you know, whiteness or white supremacy are key components to holding certain paradigms in place, even from a psychological perspective, that alter the ways in which we experience humanity as African people. And that's the important distinction to make. Like, we're experiencing someone's interpretation of our humanity instead of being able to decide our own. So we're asking to matter when we're not just people that matter. We are God and goddesses. It's important to change the way in which we even interact with that paradigm. We have to know who we are before we get into a paradigm that is going to put us at a marginalized space. It's going to put us back. It's going to put us in a space that is minimalized. That's not who we are. That's not what we offer. It gets reinforced psychologically when you see certain crimes being committed and not having the response of people getting convicted or getting sentenced or all of these things the so-called justice system is supposed to do and create for us. We have to make sure that we are looking out for us and looking out for ourselves and creating systems and frameworks that work for us, that allow for us to more than matter but shine. Like, we want to shine. We want to continue to shine. We want to personify Black excellence. We want to personify Black deity. We want to personify Black gods and goddesses. And that's no slight to anybody that's pumping Black Lives Matter, because Black lives do matter, and I support that movement 1,000,000%, but we more than matter.
What do you guys do to get yourself feeling up when you're not feeling so up, when you're kind of feeling down?
Whew, that's a good question, and
we was talking about that yesterday.
Yeah, I think it's also how you see life too. Part of the reason why a lot of us don't know how to get from being down is because, they haven't been shown the way. The way I see life is just so different, and I'm so optimistic on things. Even when I'm in my lowest, I'm always in the same energy. I'm always coaching myself, and I think that's what it is too. We gotta learn. We have a lot of us haven't been taught to coach ourselves. And like Kiva, we talked about yesterday, we have, just being in a position of just working as a team, or being in a position, like I said, coaching yourself and just, just building.
For me, art is the transforming tool. We've all been in a situation where our spirit and everything has been down or has been compromised or challenged. And then once we turn on a certain song, or we watch a certain movie, or we encounter some level of art, and as African people, that's just who we are.
That's right.
Like, when we encounter art, our disposition change. So we need to utilize art as an active tool, as an assertion,
right.
To assert the change that we want to see in the spaces that we need to. And that's what our music and the creation of our music is key. That's a pivotal point in what we're doing, because our music is supposed to bring forth the change and be the soundtrack that allows for people to feel and stay inspired and to change moods and to change the ways you create and orient to a space. And so I think artistically, Black arts have always been a key component to navigating those spaces where we just don't have it.
That's right.
Think about our ancestors, right? Think about the struggle to consistently know that you're waking up in an enslaved position, an enslaved vantage point, and how you're going to create the motivating tools to motivate your husband, your wife, your family, to stay in communication with your children, to know that whatever your strife or struggle or sacrifice is happening right now is going to create legacy for generations to come. That's powerful in itself, to just look at that as a source point for how we motivate ourselves. So everyone is entitled to ups and downs, but it's the how you approach it.
That's right.
And the tools that you utilize to get through. And as Mike mentioned, sometimes the tools are toxic.
Yeah.
And they're like coping mechanisms that we just trying to find a way to work it out, but they don't really deal with the healing that we really need to source.
Like, I mean, just coping. The idea of just coping. A lot of times we base our whole life on just coping. A lot. Like, when I'm chilling with my boys on the block sometimes I go visit. And, we build and just talk. And these guys are so powerful, and it's like, so powerful, geniuses in what they do, and it's how they articulate what they're doing. And it's just beautiful, And I always say to myself, imagine if they was doing this. Imagine if they put that same energy into this. And the thing about it, would they do it if they knew how to, And it's a lot, man.
You basically have to, just keep reaching for different tools to keep your vision strong.
What you see as tools as well. Like, sometimes we see things from a certain perspective when we can broaden our horizon and how we look at it and how we utilize it in our lives. Like, we have a lot of coping tools that we just naturally develop from our position in society, but we have to understand that those are motivating factors, and those are things that a lot of people can't source like we can.
Huey P. Newton, Fred Hampton, these guys was in the hood. They understood the potential and the power in it. what made Huey P. write Revolutionary Suicide. Like, if you out here, if you're gonna die for nothing, let's die for something. Let's fight for something. I'm not saying to that extent, but at the end of the day, our brothers are dying out here. You know what I mean? So
our family members are dying.
Yes, man. So it's like, it's just like, that potential, we gotta tap into that, and knowing that your potential is not the end.
Right.
We gotta keep going. So, it's just a lot.
I think another thing that comes very naturally to us is celebrating and enjoying ourselves and enjoying each other. So, watching your videos and seeing like the whole village, the whole group, the baby, the grandparents and things like that. And like the wide array of ages, that just makes me feel so comfortable. It feels at home.
It's a generational movement. And I think what people will find once they dig deeper into Blaque Roots and what we're about that same thing. Those same threads allow for Mic and I to merge in a way that's seamless and that invites all generation, invites all genre, invites all of who we are to experience blackness and in an unapologetic way, in a way that's just us. And I think that's key. Like, we can't apologize for the beauty of who we are anymore.
What are some of the things that you plan on working on in the future?
As an artist, it has been important to be comprehensive with how I present myself. In the very near future, I see myself, Mike, and other artists that are in our collective going on what I consider to be lecture concert series, where we do talks with communities as well as perform and be comprehensive in the way in which we administer medicine or healing. I think that's powerful. That's going to be a powerful tool. We have a lot of people that we're connected to that have the same vibe, the same energy, are educators, and to be able to utilize good imagery, good music, good material, and dispense information in a way that people can receive it. It's palatable. You got a dope beat. Like, I think in the near future, a lecture concert series is something that I see that's very doable for us. And now with the virtual spaces, being able to be in places and spaces that you don't necessarily have to travel, I think is going to be a powerful tool in that. For me, I'm an educator by profession. And I have my own educational consulting business, shout out to YAX. And I've been traveling throughout the diaspora, Africa, Caribbean, different places in the United States, definitively doing the same work that I do with the music. We're also open to like the arts, music, movies, artistic. Mike, both of us are merchandisers in terms of our clothing. He has his Respect the Cool clothing line. We have a clothing line coming out a little bit later on this year. So we want to be comprehensive with how we reach the people and how people have access to us. And so that's going to continue to grow. We have the next generation coming up, and they come in with they fire. And so we just need to be ready to support them and push and pull them wherever necessary. So there are many opportunities. I'd love to be doing some more acting and to have visibility on that end of the spectrum of arts. So it's wide, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful lane for possibilities.
Sounds like you have a lot of treasures in your treasure chest.
And it feels like that too. And I think it's also very good to recognize that we do have treasures. Like we're holding. We got some things. We got some things that the people want. This particular project that we're working on or have completed at this point is a comprehensive speaking of that. It's very engaging on many levels, and I definitely want Mike also to speak to what he sees for himself as an artist and all those different things.
I'm big on imagery, everything I do is just based around imagery and make sure that we put out the proper imagery to represent, our people in a way that needs to be represented. Like if you've seen the Wild video featuring Nakeeba's on as well, I wanted to make sure that we have Black women in the video and it shows that we love them. Just trying to bridge that gap. So everything I'm doing is trying to make sure it's like put out the best imagery as possible within the clothing line, and just try to be the spook who sat by the door at the same time giving it to you in your face, So that's the vision for me.
We are getting ready to wind down our interview. It has been heavy. It has been full, satisfying, delicious. And Nakeeba, you already like given respect to your moms. But if there's anyone else on your creative team or managerial team or whatever that you want to recognize, I'm gonna give you that time to do that now.
I want to shout out cameraman Joan Tremello. I want to shout out my DJ skills, turn it up. Conscious. J Double, oh my God, it's just so much. I go on for days. But shout out to my boy Blaque, shout out to my boy Bills, shout out to my lady, won't let down. Shout out to my baby girls. I mean, it's a lot. We go for days. Shout out to my moms and my pops. I mean, shout out to Kiva. Shout out to Kiva. Shout out to Sister Carol. Shout out to my boy Dino. You know, it's so much. If I miss you, I love you anyway. You know,
someone love you.
Shout out to my boy Biggs, man. Shout out to Red Rose Pre. This goes on.
Yeah, man. I definitely want to shout out, Sister Unity for being a connecting tool with us and for just kind of making sure that everything Blaque Roots is cohesive and moving a certain way, which is important. Shout out to our team, you know what I'm saying? J Double Up, Jackie, Candice, Jawara,
that's right.
Aya Conscious, Script, Armani, everybody that steps into the fold, and my sister Talisha, we come in really, really comprehensive with everybody that lifts us up. Our village is really rich.
Yeah.
We have people in our educational realm that have added to us, the Bryans and Marie and Trinas and Baris and
shout out to everybody believe in us.
Right.
And even when sometimes the vision wasn't clear, it's thankful,
right.
We're thankful because just being an artist and just chasing this path, being an entrepreneur, artist, it's like you're walking in a tunnel with no light on, and everybody like, listen, that light is off. I ain't going that way. But you like, listen, you gotta believe what I'm trying to do. Trust me.
Faith,
and it's like that's what it is about being a leader. You're gonna fall or you're gonna be successful. It's part of the game.
And sometimes falling is a part of being successful.
That's
you
right.
have to learn from your triumphs and your trials, as I said before. I definitely want to give a very special shout out to my grandmother,
That's right.
Miss Lena Walk. I'm 94 years old, still kicking harder than me and you. And I want to shout the influences, the people that paved the way for us to be here, the groups that was dealing with the balancing of the male and female principle, the entities, the sisters that stepped up to the plate in male-dominated spaces and still rocked the mic and spit, and in reggae, from hip-hop to R&B, all of these spaces are spaces that we really trying to break ground and break down barriers, and the village is very strong. My youths, shout out to all of them and all of their brilliance and glory. I love each and every one of you all, and then just love and light to you, Queen, for offering the time and space for us to engage with you amidst surgeries and ting. Make sure that we connect and strengthen each other's platform. So give thanks to Afro and all of what you are doing to push the culture and the music forward.
That's a fact.
Thank you guys so much for sharing your insight, sharing your experience, sharing your wisdom, and your motivation, what motivates you. So we will see you next time on Afrique Creole.
Yes, love. God bless.
Know who you are. Celebrate your culture. Life is a festival. Explore it with me, Lady May. Join us live Saturday from 6 to 7 p.m. Let's share information. Napton chaque samedi, 6h pour 7h du soir. as we discover Afro-Caribbean culture. L'union fait la force.